What were your first impressions of Diana? And did you meet her or get to spend a lot of time around her?
Well, let's deal with the first part first. The first time I saw her, yeah, a very beautiful woman. There's no question about that. I mean, she was tall, blonde, long legs. I mean, what was not to like? Um, I think initially I got the impression that she was quite naive about things. There was always complaints from staff that when she went on royal jobs, that she ignored the briefs. You know, they always get briefs about what the job was about, and she ignored them. She didn't really care up until the point that she developed her own interest in the charities, landmines, the Royal Ballet, AIDS. These were things that were very, very important to her. Now, and she learned an awful lot. She did more than study the briefs about these causes. I mean, she was an expert. I mean, quite clearly an expert on landmines and everything else. So this was a she it was like a butterfly developing all the way through, and she came through very, very well. Photographer, you ask any photographer, they believe that Diana was always looking down the camera at them, that she was flirting with the camera. I mean, it's very photogenic. I mean, you just got
Yes.
to look at any of the pictures. You can never find a picture that showed Diana in a bad light. I mean, she could wear a sackcloth and ashes and she'd still look $1 million. There's no doubt about that. I met her yeah, more than several times. We had lots of conversations about a variety of topics, usually at press receptions. We had odd phone calls as well, where, we discuss things that she was about to do and so forth. I'm not saying I was her greatest confidant. I'm not suggesting that at all, because there were two or three other reporters who I know quite well who had very similar conversations and chats with her. Richard Kay, a very close chum of mine, was much more of a confidant to Diana than I ever was.
Yeah, we saw the pictures of her getting in and out of his car.
And I'll tell you something about those pictures. On the day that those pictures were taken, I received a phone call from Richard Kay, and we were talking. It was a Saturday, so it was like in those days I didn't have a paper to work for the following day because we didn't publish on a Sunday. Completely different to what it is now. And it was, but it wasn't unusual for him to ring me, on an odd day. We were just chatting away, and I could hear this woman giggling in the background. And I said to him, I said, "Oh, who's in the car with you? Is it Emma, who is his wife?" And it wasn't. It was, I later found out it was the Princess of Wales. They'd had a chat and were having a meeting and everything else. I don't understand. And I asked him about it, but he's never revealed to me why they decided to ring me. It wasn't to boast or gloat or anything, because he denied it was the Princess of Wales, but it was the Princess of Wales because the pictures proved it was the Princess of Wales.
She just was a little bit naughty sometimes. I think
Oh,
that they I
sure.
think they were having fun. They had a mutual friend in you and they were like, and I mean, we
Yeah.
know we know she wasn't above prank calling because look at the art dealer boyfriend.
Oh, no, no. I mean, look, there isn't anybody in this world that is perfect. And Diana had her flaws. She wasn't perfect. There's no doubt about it. But for the time that she spent on this earth, she did a hell of a lot of good for a hell of a lot of people. I mean, I remember on one occasion where she was meeting a mother. I can't remember exactly why, but she was meeting a woman, a young mother, to do something, and they'd gone to Kensington Palace, and Diana was late. Not terribly late, 5, 10 minutes late, that sort of thing. But as Diana walked into the room, and you got to remember, when people are meeting members of the royal family, I don't care what they say now, but you're 2 minutes away from meeting a member of the royal family. Believe me, your legs are jelly. Your
Yeah.
brains turn to mush. You don't know what you're going to say. Nothing. Now, Diana walked into that room. She ignored everyone else in that room and saw that mother. and went straight over to her and said, "Hello, I'm Diana. I'm really sorry I'm late, but I had trouble getting the boys to school." Now, there you go. That's destroyed the princess and the pauper scenario straight away. You're talking about two mums having a chat about the kids. Simple as
So
that.
cute. What
It's
a
not, you
great,
can't teach people that.
yeah. No, you're right. I mean, I think I have a question about that a little later
Yeah.
about can what we love about Diana is compassion, empathy, authenticity. Um, Meghan tries to recreate it. Can you create it? And I think you just answered no. You can't fake that.
No, you can't fake it. There's no fake. Once Diana realized that she uh, had the power, which was a power, had the power to do some good for normal people, everyday people who have got everyday problems, who've got mortgages, who are losing their jobs, who are suffering from various illnesses and everything else. Once she realized that she could provide a bit of glamour in their lives or a bit of compassion more so in their lives, then she was cooking on gas. There was no question about that.
I'm feeling naughty myself when I asked you when she would call you. Did she have a plan? I mean, was she trying to work you because she had a story that it was important for her to get out, unrelated to some great charity? I mean, maybe it is related to some great charity, but I'm curious to know when she would call you, is she saying, Camilla's over at the house right now. I can practically smell her from Kensington Palace.
No,
Or
it
was she
was
calling you to say, "Look, I'm going to shake hands with somebody at an AIDS charity and I'm not going to wear gloves and it's going to be really powerful and I'd love for you to capture it."
it was never a jealousy call. It was never, I'm doing this because I want to upset Charles, or I want to upset Camilla, or anything else. Look, it's been well documented in the past that Diana used the press. Okay, we were a conduit, if you like, for her. She wanted
Willing,
to
very willing.
very well. Our jobs were to write stories about her.
Yeah,
And she's coming in, and she's, whether it's her or whether it's one of her aides are calling you. Um, it was the same effect.
right.
We were winning as well because all I was caring about was getting a great story in the paper the following morning with my name on it.
Right.
I've never taken drugs in my life, but the only drug I've got is seeing my name in the paper. Having a great show in the paper, whether it was the front page, a spread over 2 pages, and the fact that Diana was using the press, well, conversely, we were using her as well because
Mm,
we were getting something out of it.
absolutely. Do you see that? Do you feel like Harry and Meghan try to utilize the Diana playbook sometimes and just fail? Like I do. Like sometimes I think Harry and Meghan, uh, Oprah interview, Panorama interview, um, Spare, Diana, her true story. Sometimes I feel like they think that they're copying Diana's movements without considering the consequences because Diana, her true story actually blew up Diana's life. I mean, maybe she had moments where she felt relief, but the astrologers warned her she shouldn't have done it, and she went along with it anyway. And then the Panorama interview, some say it cost her her life because, Martin Bashir convinced her that she was being spied on and she got rid of her royal
Sure.
protection.
Well, as we now know that the Bashir interview was he got it through wrong means. He lied to her, basically, um, which is a great pity. So she was used by Bashir and the BBC, I mean, it was a devastating interview, absolutely devastating. I mean, the only one that's comparable in this day and age is the Prince Andrew Newsnight interview, in modern terms. But that Panorama interview certainly had a very, very strong effect on the whole of the royal family, not just Diana. And I think the difference between her and Harry and Meghan is, of course, they chose safe outlets. Oprah Winfrey, it's a friend. The book, again, you publish a book, and it's all friendly stuff. really, they were never. I mean, Oprah Winfrey never once challenged Meghan or Harry on anything that they said. So they had a free shot, if you like, at everything. Remember, they got married 3 days
Twice.
before. They got married 3 days before. And why did we spend millions of pounds on the actual real wedding?
I mean, the wedding that had working members of the royal family cackling in the aisles. It was
Yeah,
so, such a, contrast to normal royal weddings. Yeah, we didn't, the taxpayers didn't need to spend all that wedding. Also, Meghan, technically, this would be your third wedding. Okay.
that's
Technically, it's your third.
right.
How did covering the princess, how did her presence, Diana, differ from other royals that you covered?
Well, while we were talking about royals and Diana, she was irrespective of what anybody else thinks, she was the number one royal. She was the one who attracted. I mean, when you used to, I'm going to give you a little story. We went to India with Charles and Diana, and Charles had always said many, many moons before he even met Diana, that he would like to return to India to take his wife to the Taj Mahal, the greatest monument to love that you could ever imagine. So they go to India, and Diana goes to the Taj Mahal alone.
Oh,
Charles is back in Delhi doing a meeting with a whole load of grey-suited men, a business meeting, which is important to him. I understand that. So we now have Diana at the Taj Mahal, and she sits on that bench in front of it all. And those pictures went round the world, television, newspapers, everywhere. And it there you knew the marriage was gone. You know, it was just she looked fantastic. Again, I'll repeat the phrase, and you're probably going to say it more often. She looked $1 million again. But she's sitting alone, and I remember someone shouting out, how do you feel about this? And she just looked, tilted her head to the one side that she normally did, and said, it's very healing. And of course, when she says that, do you think, well, what do you mean by that? What is that? That's it. She just left it with that. And Charles got a bucket load of criticism then, for not being with his wife at this very, very tender moment. And you left Diana. And I'll tell you one other thing as well, which was, yeah, it's never been really revealed before, but when Diana was there was a whole entourage of various Indian dignitaries. The women were all beautifully dressed in their colorful saris and everything else. There were men there as well who were, very wearing suits and everything else. And of course, she was walking around with them. And I think it was the photographers who said, "No, can we get rid of everyone else and just get the princess sitting at this stone bench," which she did. Of course, that's what we wanted. We wanted her to be alone to even emphasize the fact that she was alone and that she was without her husband. And so that picture and that story made headlines all over the world.